Yeah, remember that goal song? How's everybody doing? It is October. Yeah, spooky month, the month of spookiness. And here we are in another Killbot stream, this time referred to as Harvester of Metal. You know, I work hard to title the live streams just to differentiate them a little bit, and nobody seems to care. So, how's everybody doing? We got some eventful stuff to talk about since it's kind of been a while since the last time we did it. Look at my hair. It's kind of a mess right now. I need to wash it. Saturday's usually my hair day. So, new wave of British heavy metal maniac. Hey, Killbot. Gaston Kappa. Wolf. Hey, did you see Bell lately? Drew. Okay. Castle Crasher. Hey, new stream. Talking about Slipknot. Gonna be talking about penises too. Hey. So, a joke for you. Why did Burger King get Dairy Queen pregnant? Anyone? Anyone at all? He forgot to wrap his Whopper! Okay. Got my little dance right here. Okay. Glenn Darcy, you finally made it to a YouTube stream. Yeah, because you usually make it to the Instagram streams. I was kind of a dick in the last Instagram stream. There was that guy. I was like, yeah, well, what were you talking about then? I need to apologize to him, seriously. Okay, so Zoofagus must be destroyed. Hey, good to see you again. Can't stay for long because I'm going to see Terrifier 3, but just wanted to say hello. Well, hey, enjoy the movie. Hopefully it's a good movie. I need to watch some horror movies myself. Usually around Halloween, I used to make it a tradition to watch the Evil Dead movies, the original Dawn of the Dead, and of course, the Beavis and Butthead Halloween special. Bung Holio, Lord of the Harvest. That's the name of the episode. It is funny as shit. They're trying to go trick-or-treating, but they need costumes to do it, so all the neighbors are like, hey, you really need costumes. So Beavis puts underwear over his head and says, hey, I'm a Nad. I'm going trick-or-treating as a Nad. And people still won't give him candy, so they're like, we need to go to someone stupid's house. So they go to Mr. Anderson's house. He's like, what in the hell are you two supposed to be? Then he has to go answer the phone, and Beavis like steals all of his candy. I am Cornelio. You will give me all your candy. It's amazing. Run as you may. You cannot escape. Okay, so. Okay, Mortem, Matt Griffin. Enjoyed your CD collection video you made a while back. You have taste. Thank you, Worst Nightmare. Oh, crud. Well, wait a minute. Hold up. I need to be highlighting these comments, shouldn't I? That would be quite nice to make you guys feel more involved. Okay, let me go ahead and do that. That's the one thing I forgot to do because I was so excited to get on here today. I am reading your comments, don't worry. And I've got the Chelsea Wolf page pulled up, and I'm going to get to that in a few minutes. But just before anybody... Oh, okay, so here we go. Okay, Andrew Gabriel. I just watched Manhattan Baby and New York Ripper not too long ago. Good movies. I watched Frankenhooker about a month ago. Laughed my ass off. The protagonist, the main character. I mean, you watch the movie, and that guy's got problems. It's amazing, though. I really loved it. It was free with ads on Amazon Prime, and I was just... Don Badge. Today at school, I dressed full metalhead with my battle jacket. Well... if you have a battle jacket, then maybe you would like one of these Killbot and Gorgor Thach patches. Check this out. $6.66. Free shipping anywhere in the world. These are embroidered, and they are made by the same gentleman who made patches for Goat Whore, Acid Bath, Soylent Green, and a whole bunch of New Orleans bands. Really good guy. Anyway. Okay, let me wrap this up. And, of course, if you like patches, we have stickers. I believe I sell these for about $2 a piece on my Bandcamp. You can also buy them directly from me. And, of course, we got shirts. Yep, that's right. I'm a salesman. I've got these things right here. So, got that classic shirt design, and we have the grind-on shirt design, which is pretty gnarly. I need a new shirt design, and unfortunately, everybody I try to get to design a shirt for me, I offer to pay them, and they're like, oh, we don't want to be paid for it. I'm like, well, I need a new shirt design. You know, and you're acting kind of slow to respond to my messages, and then they end up ghosting me, so fuck them. I don't know, I need a new shirt design. If we have any takers, then come on, hit me up. They're going to be like, well, what kind of shirt design do you want? It's like, I don't know, just show me what you can do. Anyway. Castle Crasher Productions, you bought too? Well, that's cool. Lunar Blood Reviews. Yo, dude, hey, you're good. You're good. Seriously. Okay. Let's not bring that up again. Just wanted to drop by and ask what your favorite Discharge song is. Probably Protest and Survive. God, I hadn't heard a Discharge album in years. You know, they used to be in my regular rotation when I was a teenager, and that was because they were often cited as a big influence with the grindcore bands. Like Napalm Death, Extreme Noise Terror, Early Bolt Thrower, those type of bands. Hold on. Excuse me. Denisha Freeman, hey, what's up? What's up? Yeah, we were talking earlier, and a little thing that I didn't get to mention to you. So I won't be in New York for Massive Attack. Unfortunately, that's a pretty busy work week for my stepdad. However, the Massive Attack tour got canceled. So that wouldn't have worked anyway, but I did find out, or should I say I remembered, that Chelsea Wolfe is going to be playing in New York in December. So I'm going to see about flights and see how that works out and see if that's an okay week personally for both of us. And maybe we'll go see Chelsea Wolfe. I mean, the tickets are really expensive, and she's playing in a church, which is weird. But apparently she does that often because, like, when she plays these stripped back sets of her songs, she plays them in churches, and then, like, the guitar chords just ring all over the damn cathedrals, and, like, it reverberates off the walls. The acoustics really lend themselves to the music. And from what I understand, the people who've seen these church shows that Chelsea Wolfe does, they're super intense. I just got into her maybe a couple months ago. I don't know why I've been sleeping on her, because the thing is, she's like the combo of all the genres I like. She's metal, she's industrial, she's goth, she's got some of that songwriter stuff going on, you know, like Tori Amos and Bjork. That's that other stuff that I listen to sometimes. So, hey, that'd be kind of cool. Speaking of grindcore, Andrew Gabriel, I remember the first video I watched from you. It was your gore grind video, and you got me into some great bands. Thanks. Awesome. I'm so glad. And it is October, so please do yourself a favor and go listen to some fucking Hemorrhage. Yeah. And speaking of gore grind and Carcass, how about Jeff Walker's new haircut? I mean, he's got himself a buzz cut now. It's amazing. Like, Steve Tucker shaved his head totally bald, so now it looks like a freshly circumcised cock. And now Jeff Walker shaved his head pretty short. I mean, it suits him, but, like, who's going to be the next death metal legend to shave their head? Like, it seems like an ongoing trend that Steve Tucker started. Meanwhile, the guy from Dying Fetus, like, he started with no hair and then he grew his hair. So it's like a reverse. I stole that from my friend Caroline. So you listen to National Socialist black metal. No, I do not. I don't fuck with Nazis. Okay, let me get back to these comments because everybody's doing this. Gaston Kappa. Tony, why is it that I can fall asleep to the vocals of a dying pig saying the most obscene stuff, but I get terrified by singers like Zooey Dischannel? Maybe you're desensitized. They live, we sleep. Hello. What do you think about Cannon Fiber? Never heard of them. Liv, oh my god. Hey, how you doing? Okay, got the usual suspects. If those tickets are expensive, might have to pass. Well, the tickets, including the fees, are $63. But, like, supposedly the point of this Chelsea Wolfe tour, she's playing smaller, more intimate dates. Don't you love intimate? Nice little buzzword that all these artists and the music fans throw out. $63, but it happens on December 6th. It's at a place in Brooklyn called First Unitarian Congregational Society, which at first, and like I said, I was like, she's playing in a church? But apparently she chooses these churches because of the acoustics. And also she chooses that church specifically because they're not quite as religious, they're more spiritual. And she's not religious, she's more spiritual. So I would absolutely love to go see Chelsea Wolf. Hey man, 98. Hey, how you doing, man? Vile Harpsichord, hello. Glenn Darcy, thank you for letting me purchase the X-Order single. I've played it a lot recently and it sounds amazing. Now on the B-side of that single, for those who are unaware, I sold this guy the single for The Man That Never Was by X-Order. I should have bought 2 or 3 copies when they were available. That way I could have flipped them. But on the B-side of it, there's Legions of Death, which is a live recording from the second night in Brooklyn, the reunion show, and I was at that show. So it was pretty cool to hear on a physical release, even if it was a single, a song that was recorded at a show that I saw. It's always been a dream of mine to attend a show where a live album was being recorded, and so far that has never happened. It's come close a couple times. Obituary released a live album from a tour that I saw them on. Cradle of Filth did the same, and I almost, I'm still kicking myself in the ass for this, almost went to see Autopsy in Chicago just before COVID. And I can't remember why I didn't go. I think I had to work or something. And I didn't go. And the fuckers ended up releasing the show as a live album. It was their first official live album in their entire history. And I was like, son of a bitch. Yeah, anyway. Yesterday in English class, we had to present our favorite band. So I chose Bathory and I turned a classmate onto them. Hey, that's pretty cool. Fernando, do you like the band Memoriam with Carl Willits? You know, I like the concept of Memoriam, and ideally, it should be a slam dunk. Unfortunately, I think Memoriam is just fucking boring. You know, I heard the first 2 albums, didn't bother with anything afterwards, because I was just like, okay, so the first album, it's mostly good. It's kind of slow in some areas. The second album, the production sucked. The third album, I was like, okay, I learned my lesson. So you gonna read Super Chat or what? Yes, I will. Thank you so much. Castle Crasher Productions gave me $2. Here's to keeping metal alive. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That'll go to a good cause. Hey, maybe that'll go towards my potential trip to New York if that happens. Well, maybe not if, or when. When Darcy saw the second night of Carcass, okay. Harpsichord. Making an angry, aggressive death metal playlist for when I'm angry. Maybe not death metal so much, but the entire Nailbomb album. Like, that's a pretty angry album. There's a song on there called 24 Hour Bullshit. Ugh. Yeah, that one works. I dare say, let's see, the one, the Cannibal Corpse song. Oh, I took that knife and I cut her right from her anus all the way to her vagina. Then I cut it off and I ate it. That one. I'm trying to remember the name of that one. It was off Tomb of the Mutilated. It was the one with Ed Gein in the beginning of it. Amelie, hey, what's up? Nothing interesting, but decided to get all 3 Evil Dead movies, including the director's cut of Army of Darkness, and have a marathon once they come. Hey, I've done that many a time. I did it a lot in my youth. You know, I was downright obsessed with those movies for about 2 years. And if I can, okay, this is going to drive me crazy until I see what song it is. Split Wide Open. No, it's called Addicted to Vaginal Skin. Yeah, that's the name of the Cannibal Corpse song. So, anyway. Jesus built my guitar tabs. Those super chats are going towards your Mountain Dew addiction. Well, if you can believe this, okay, so today is the 11th. In about 9 days, on October 20th, it's going to be 6 months without any soda whatsoever for me. I know, I never thought that I'd go that long with it, but hey, I feel great. I've been sleeping great. Hey, Savanos, that's how you do. I think that's how you want me to say your name. Savanos, Savanos, whatever the fuck. I was feeling shit, got COVID last month, but feel better now. Well, that's good. That's very cool. Anyway, yeah, so many of you may or may not be wondering about the hurricane situation. Of course, I live in North Carolina, as many of you know, and Asheville, North Carolina, the mountains, Boone, those places got hit pretty hard by the hurricane a couple weeks ago. My area is fine. All my area got was some rain and some wind for a couple hours, and it was stop and start. It wasn't anything intense at all. Excuse me. But Chimney Rock, which was a small village up in the mountains, it was a village of like 200 people. Chimney Rock is gone, totally. Village wiped out. You know, lots of flooding, and I never, ever in a million years would have thought that Asheville, of all places, would have gotten hit the way they did, because it's a high elevation place. You know, if you drive up to Asheville, you know, you're going to feel that pressure from the elevation in your ears, kind of like when you go on an airplane. And my heart breaks for all those people because, you know, I have friends and family friends that live up in Asheville, and, you know, a lot of people wanted to take vacations up there during October because it looks really cool around Halloween. And unfortunately, a lot of places aren't going to have power for a while. And that sucks. Of course, with the lack of FEMA funds, thanks, a lot of us citizens are taking it in our own hands to volunteer and to help out and to donate and to give supplies. And yeah, this is when communities come together. And of course, we can't forget Florida. Florida got hit pretty bad. Georgia got hit pretty bad. And I suspect that maybe the Florida and Georgia dates got canceled by Massive Attack because of the storms there. I don't know, but we'll see. I was just kidding. You can say it however you want. Well, tell me how you're supposed to say it then, because that's like mortem. Are you a fan of Diary of a Madman by Ozzy? Absolutely. Diary of a Madman. I like all the Ozzy albums up to Osmosis. And Osmosis, I only like the first half of it. The second half of it kind of sucks. But, like, it's weird because Osmosis, a lot of people are like, oh, he got shitty and soft on that album, and I hate Zakk Wylde. But, like, if you listen to some of those songs, they're fucking great. Thunder Underground, Perry Mason, See You on the Other Side. You know, it reminds me of childhood. No More Tears also reminds me of childhood. That song, Time After Time. Love, love, love that song. It reminds me of Christmas in a way, you know, the way it starts off. You know, just Christmas visuals, you know? Or like Kiss would say, every time we play this one, the place lights up just like a damn Christmas tree. I gotta tell you what I'm feeling inside. I can lie to myself, but it's true. Remember Forever from the Alive 3 album? Whatever. FEMA's given me the runaround, and I had an inspector have me approved. Well, that's good. Just built my guitar tabs. How did you stop drinking soda for that long? I was able to lose 50 pounds, but quitting soda is harder to quit than losing weight. For me, I have a crippling ginger ale addiction. Well, ginger ale is a little easier than, say, Mountain Dew, because Mountain Dew has the most sugar and the most caffeine of most soft drinks. With ginger ale, I don't think there's any caffeine in there. The sugar's pretty low. What else you can do is you can drink those fucking nasty Zevias. They have them in the cans. They're like the no-calorie version of a lot of these soft drinks. I don't drink them. I tried the ginger ale Zevias, and they're fucking disgusting. But what you can do is, like, transition to those to basically wean yourself off. And the taste is going to be so nasty that you're like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm just going to drink water and tea from now on. I don't rule out the possibility of drinking soda again. I just wanted to see how I would feel if I were to, you know, just stop. And I stopped on a whim. I didn't plan it at all. I just drank a Mountain Dew one day, and I said, you know, I want to see how long I can go without drinking this. And so far, it's been close to 6 months. I've been going right to sleep other than at night when the whores message me and they blow up my phone. It's like, stop it. I'll play with you tomorrow. And there was a guy who messaged me last night, and I like the guy, first of all. So this isn't disrespecting towards him, but he's over there like, oh, I went to the show and I had a great time. I'm like, yeah, great. I'll talk to you tomorrow. So, you know what I mean? Mr. Dartmare, your bolt thrower video is awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I still kick myself for the Odin's Mighty Hammer mistake, but maybe someday I'll be able to re-upload and correct that mistake, say Thor's Mighty Hammer. Anyway. Denisha Freeman, I drink Coke as a caffeine addict, had to switch to coffee for my health. Try True Cult Coffee. My man Sean Lotzenheiser, he runs that company, and it is strong gourmet coffee because when you drink coffee, you want to taste it. Anyway. But yeah, so, Loisa Smith, Tony, I wish I could go on a date. Me too. Because usually they fucking ghost me. You know, I had a bit of a miscommunication issue pretty recently. Some chick I met on a dating app, we reconnected. We saw each other around at shows. And we met up at a goth night, and unfortunately there was some miscommunication, and afterwards she was like, hey, just to clarify, I'm only looking for friends right now. I'm like, oh, damn it. I was thinking maybe that was a potential first date, but it ended up not being, so it was like, shit. Oh, well. And then she, like, unmatched me on the dating app anyway, so whatever. Anyway, so yeah, Massive Attack, they canceled their tour, and what ended up happening, so, as I mentioned earlier, I was thinking about going to New York to go see Massive Attack, and also see some family, see some friends, some online friends that I hadn't met. And it was just bad timing for the week, so we were like, okay, we'll just look for other concerts and we'll schedule a visit around those. And I still wanted to go see Massive Attack because on this tour, Liz Fraser was going to be with them and they were going to sing Song to the Siren. It's one of my favorite songs ever. It's just so beautiful. Especially the This Mortal Coil version. Like there are a million versions of that song, but This Mortal Coil's version, it just... Anyway, a friend of mine was going to see them in Washington, D.C. And I got to looking and I saw that Greyhound tickets, round trip, were $100 out of Greensboro going into Washington, D.C. And I could catch a Greyhound right after the show and I wouldn't have to get an Airbnb. So great. It was going to be a cheap trip. And I had it pulled up. I was a cunt hair close to booking it this morning. All I had to do was put my credit card information in there, and I would have had the Greyhound tickets. But I was like, you know what? It's a few days away. Let me just think about this for a minute and come back to it. And if I still want to do it, then I'll do it. Because I felt like I was going to see them just for Liz and not necessarily for Massive Attack. And then an hour later, my friend who was going to the DC show, she sent me the damn post that they did. Well, story. They didn't even have the balls to come out and do a full post. They did a story saying, hey, our tour is canceled. Sorry. Due to unforeseen circumstances. It's like, you fuckers. The tour was supposed to start in 8 days. A lot of people were flying in from all over the country to see this damn tour. You know, they were booking hotels, and a lot of the tickets are non-refundable and non-transferable, and that shit sucks. It sucks for them. And, you know, this isn't really the first time they did this. Massive Attack, they had to postpone their 2019 tour by 6 months because apparently one of the guys had health issues. And I guess that would be acceptable now if they did that, but they said due to unforeseen circumstances. That was like when I got fired from my first job. They said, hey, we're letting you go due to some circumstances. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? I hate that shit. And also, you know, I hate when bands cancel tours and don't tell the fans. I mean, Massive Attack told the fans. They just told the fans at the 11th hour, and that sucks. But like last year or the year before that, whenever it was, like Ministry canceled their tour in Europe and didn't tell anybody for about a month. And people were getting their tickets refunded, and they were going to the Ministry comment sections on social media. They were going, hey, why are my tickets being refunded? Are you guys canceling the tour? And they didn't tell anybody the tour was canceled till a month after it happened. And a friend of mine, a good friend of mine who's good with the band and the crew, they were like, hey, can't wait to see you in Edmonton, or can't wait to see you in whatever the fuck. And the guy was just like, yeah, about that. Yeah, I'll see you there. And he just walks away, just dodges the conversation. Okay, so about 2013, I'd say, I wanted to go see Suffocation in Maryland. And the way the Suffocation tour was, I suspected that this was going to be one of the Frank tours, because that was when he stopped being able to go on tours often, and he could only do it a couple times out of the year. Excuse me. And they were going to play a show in Maryland, and they didn't tell anybody until maybe the day before, like a week or so before it was going to happen, but they canceled the damn show. And I found out about that. I was pissed. And while on the topic of other canceled dates, she passed away. Apparently She Passed Away was going to play in November. Well, they had a date booked, the Brooklyn Monarch, for November 14th. I saw this and I was like, ooh, she passed away. I'd love to go see them. The damn shit got canceled, and the band didn't say anything about it. Man, that just turned this on by accident. Anyway. Respectfully, simp detected. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, well, okay, for those watching and not reading, this is someone talking about the other person. Carrot UFO, love your channel, you're cute too. Aw, thank you. Thank you so much. Andrew Gabriel, thoughts on the first two Paradise Lost albums? Fucking classic. I also love Shades of God. Excellent stuff. Excellent band. Ruby DeJelly, hey Killbot, love your vids. Keep up the great work. Hey, thank you so much for joining in, and thank you for watching. Hopefully you saw my last video. About 5 people saw it, and that sucked. Necro Cenobite, what are some of your favorite cold weather albums? Agaloc's pretty excellent for cold weather. It's also amazing for fall weather. Agaloc's amazing for any time of the year, but in the cold it especially hits harder. Skinny Puppy, of course, excellent any time of the year, but just the way those synths sound, especially the process, it's so cold, so dreadful. But yeah, so she passed away. The band didn't tell anybody about that canceled show, and I would have loved to have gone to see them. You know, Turkish goth. But we're talking about cold weather. The last few days, I've been listening to the Frozen Autumn. They're an Italian dark wave band, and they're really good. If you're a fan of stuff like Clan of Zymox, they've been around since the 90s. So we've got the first album, Pale Awakening. We've got the second album, Fragments of Memories. The third album, which has an interesting story because this is the leather special edition, about 1,000 copies made. I got this from their label, who hadn't updated their website since 2019. So I bought it last year because I was looking on Discogs, and all the copies were like $50, $60 a piece, and they were overseas. So I was like, well, maybe if I email the label, maybe they'll have a couple copies available. Sure enough, they did. And it was brand new. They'd just been sitting. They were like, we do have copies that we just forgot about. So I paid the shipping, and the booklet had been sitting for so long that a couple of the pages were stuck together. So that was interesting. Such a great band. Andrew Gabriel, favorite type of negative song? Oh, God. So many of them. Blood and Fire is great. Christian Woman's great. Black Number 1, of course. Haunted. Creepy Green Light. Ugh. Everything Dies. Just... You know, I used to feel like Dead Again was my favorite type of negative album. The more I listen to it, the less I like the lyrics. And also the songs are all just long as shit. So the older I get, the more I resonate with World Coming Down. It is not a joyful album by any stretch of the imagination, but the dynamics and the songwriting, it just... Peter was going through some shit while making that album, let's put it that way, and he translated it perfectly. Even the band have a hard time listening to that album to this day. Hey, Chris is in the house. How you doing? Do you like Winger? No, I'm not Stuart. I'm Beavis. Loisa, stop simping. Hey, she can simp all she wants, especially if she sends a super chat. Loisa, send me a super chat. Pay for my visits. Anyway. Yeah, so Chris, Chris is from California, and he has me go record shopping for him sometimes. Recently, we went to Hippo. Well, I went to Hippo Records for him and spent about $500 on albums. Yeah. So what did we spend? Let's see. Got him some Foo Fighters, some Rolling Stones, some Godflesh, Black Sabbath, Heaven and Hell. He wanted some Cypress Hill and Skinny Puppy, Too Dark Park. There were a bunch of albums. I had a question, but I'll ask you later in private. That's cool. Tony is like me, bad with money, record shops. Well, he was paying for it. Like, what he does, he has bad luck with buying records online. So what he does is he has me buy records for him, and he knows that I'm not going to ship them like an idiot. You know, like, most of the time, I'll cut the sleeves open and take the records outside and just put them outside the sleeves because, you know, that prevents splits in the spine. Yeah. Tell me, will you go on a date with me? No. You like AC/DC? Well, that's cool. Anyway, so, yeah, new albums coming out. The new Nightwish album came out. I had the poster for it. Nightwish, Yesterwind. I miss Marco's vocals, and I also miss Floor's vocals, you know? Because Floor Jansen is just such a force of nature, and I've listened hard, and I couldn't really hear her on the album. It's a shame. I heard Troy all over the album, though. Fun story. There was a listening party at a place in Raleigh, and I believe the place was called Record Crate. I had never been to a record store listening party ever. That was something my parents' generation and the generation before me. But okay, I'm just gonna block you. But here's the fucked up part. I got a flat tire on the way to the damn record listening thing, so I missed the first couple songs. It was like, shit. But I got there. It was cool. There were about 4 people there, and they weren't selling the album. It was the weirdest shit. They weren't selling the album, but they were taking pre-orders. It was like, well, I mean, I could have just bought it off Amazon if that were the case. And then the guy charged me about $23, and that included shipping for the CD. Which I only got it because they were giving away these posters and there was the record store listening experience. But I could have gotten it for $12 on Amazon. That was stupid. You know, I could have just said, oh, I'm going to pre-order it on your website right now and then walk out the door and buy it on Amazon. Record stores are expensive, man. That's why I got out of vinyl. Well, one of the many reasons I got out of vinyl is because it's just so goddamn expensive. And they upcharge because they got to pay their employees, they got to pay their rents. But there's a reason online is winning, okay? I mean, I love the idea of browsing around record stores and meeting people who like the same music as you, but also, like, when it comes to costs, inflation's at a record high, if you hadn't noticed. You know? It's they're going the way of the wind, these record stores, and it's kind of like a math teacher. He once gave me the analogy of, you know, a horse carriage fixing company. You know, oh well, you know, we've been in the carriage fixing business since, you know, 5 generations. It's like, I'm sorry, I don't have a horse carriage. You know? Let's see. I don't recall you being... Okay, you're going to get banned because fuck you, that's why. Oh, and C, how are you? Thank you. I'm doing pretty good. They live, we sleep. They retired, but when I was living in Sacramento at the time, there was a record store chain called Dimple Records. It was one of the best record stores I've been in. Well, that's really cool, man. Side note, some of you may have heard me talk about McKay's a million times. McKay's in Greensboro closed and moved to Mebane. I did a video on the store opening, and I actually like the Mebane store a lot better. However, I was in Greensboro the other day shopping for Chris for his records, and I drove past the old McKay's in Greensboro, and it is now a Spirit Halloween. Typical. From the Netherlands, I'm from the Netherlands, just like Florian. Well, that's cool. My favorite Finnish band has to be Swallow the Sun. They are getting ready to release a new album, which I heard the singles. I don't like them. The songs are okay. The production sucks. Okay, we got another super chat. Okay, Scarecrows of the Night. Top 5 cover songs that bands have done. Thank you so much for the super chat. Let's see. Squealer by Jenna Tortures is one of them. Most of the Manson covers. Oh, Get Down, Make Love by 9 Inch Nails. Beats the shit out of the original. Big time. Some people say Suck by 9 Inch Nails is a cover. I say he co-wrote it, so it wasn't a cover. It was his song anyway. Let's see. Most of the Susie and the Banshees covers are incredible. The Passengers is one of them. Trust in Me from the Jungle Book. This Wheels on Fire, the Bob Dylan cover. Ugh. Let's see. Ghoul's cover of What a Wonderful World. Let's see. And Guar did some pretty cool covers too. Let's see. They did Skulls Out. They did Wayward Son. That was a great one. Obituary did Circle of the Tyrants by Celtic Frost. Excellent shit. Looking around the room at all these other bands to see what covers there are. Don Bass. The other day I was in a record store with the best metal stuff. That's great, man. Went there when I first moved, so that's why I asked you to do it. Well, that's cool. Prices aren't that great online either. Bought Montanado's Gueros by Heroes, almost $20 on eBay. Is that the CD? Because vinyl, that's great, because vinyl prices are going way the fuck up. Let's see. There's that new Cure album that's coming out. I'm excited for that shit. It sounds like they recorded the album in the 80s, and then they like waited on it for about 20, 30, however the fuck many years, and then they're releasing it now. It sounds great. They released 2 singles so far. And let's see, they're selling the vinyl for that. They're selling the CD for that. I don't have an Atmos set up, so I passed on the deluxe version. And I pre-ordered the new Manson album. I know some people are going to be like, yeah, they're gonna follow the Manson hate bandwagon that's been going on the last few years. But frankly, the more time passes and the more evidence to the contrary that I see, the less I give a shit. It's like, yeah, he's a terrible person to tour with. He's an asshole in real life. I don't think there's a lot of water to most of the allegations that were thrown at him. But honestly, these new singles that he just released sound better than anything he's done in 20 years. And I grew out of Manson, you know? Manson was an introduction type act for me because he was doing that industrial metal thing, but 9 Inch Nails to me is just so much better. 9 Inch Nails to me is the grown-ups version of Marilyn Manson. You know, Manson's more of that teen angst type stuff, and I'm just too old for that shit. But, you know, every once in a while, I do have the urge to listen to Hollywood and Mechanical Animals, and that's the sound I like. So, Yeah, it was one of the singles he released. It sounded like something that could have come off of Hollywood. I was like, yes! So I ordered the long box because I love my long boxes. Vegan Metalhead, $5. Thank you so much. I slept in a box for charity last night and now I feel like crap. It was for helping homeless people. We didn't stay the whole night and now I'm tired. Well, that was a good cause. I can imagine the homeless people probably feel worse. They don't get boxes. A lot of them just sleep on the damn streets. Go to Los Angeles and Portland sometime. Trust me. Did you like Ministry's version of It's a Wonderful World? I didn't hear that one. By the way, Vegan Metalhead, what was the name of that charity that you did? The Manswarm. Saw Cannibal Corpse a couple weeks ago. Aaron Rutan wasn't there. His house was destroyed by a hurricane in Florida. Dude, I can't imagine having to deal with that. I mean, he seemed to have been doing okay for a while, just getting by on music, you know, Hate Eternal, producing, being in Cannibal Corpse. You can make a living in metal. You just have to work hard enough to try it. I can't imagine the recovery being easy, especially for him with his career occupation. Carla Harvey recently came out and said, you know, part of the reason she quit Butcher Babies was because, you know, in order to make a living doing Butcher Babies that play as many festivals as they do, they have to tour pretty much all year. Their music sucks. I will say this. They do put on a great live show. I saw them open for Guar in 2015, and they were excellent. And of course, that was when they were still doing the nipple pasties, so got to see those big old cha-cha-bingos. Yeah. Tony, did you go to the Iron Maiden concert in Inglewood? No. They might be coming to North Carolina. I gotta see where they're touring. Let's see. Iron Maiden tour North Carolina. Because if they're coming to Greensboro, I'd like to go see that because, okay, they're playing at the Spectrum Center in Charlotte. And if they're playing anywhere closer, like Raleigh or Greensboro, maybe I'll go see them because they're playing a lot of songs from Somewhere in Time. And that is my personal favorite Iron Maiden album. God, somewhere in time. God, somewhere. I just love the atmosphere of it. You know, it sounds so spacey. Wow. Just huge. Like those opening notes of the album are just... Ugh. Okay, so just Charlotte. Fuck, I hate Charlotte. Okay, so the name of that charity was Samaritan House. Okay. Yeah, the United States needs to fix its homeless problem. And unfortunately, it's not going to get better unless the middle class is strengthened. You know? You're all registered to vote, right? I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but go vote. Seriously. Go do it. Those who are old enough to do it. And if you don't want to stand in line and have to worry about parking and getting mean looks from people who want to assume who you're voting for, you can do what I did. Just get a mail-in ballot. You need 2 witnesses in North Carolina to sign and say that they saw you write your own ballot. Other than that, go vote. Please. The future of this country, the future of this country depends on it. I was so pissed off security guards, they told me to take off my choker and bracelets. I was with my mom and dad. Wow, that sucks. Yeah, some venues are real strict about that. The Masquerade in Atlanta, they don't like chokers, which sucks. But whatever. Let's see. RIL, I've been somewhat dabbling into industrial music, heavy rock and metal, but with a punchy groove. Go listen to Frontline Assembly, specifically the albums Millennium and Hardwired. Before it's gone, voting is a sham. Well, that's what they want you to think. But, you know, in order to fix a lot of things in this country, go vote. Seriously. I do hate the two-party system in this country, though. Actually, I've been looking at a lot of videos lately. There are a lot of people over the past few years that have left the United States because they see all these issues that are not going to get better. In fact, they're going to get worse. And they're like, okay, so what's in it for me? It costs a fortune to live in the United States. It costs a fortune just to exist every day. And there's racism that's been going on for hundreds of years that isn't getting better. And, you know, the country's divided. The gap between the rich and poor is getting shittier and shittier. And people just get brainwashed by a lot of shitty news media and shitty politicians. And it's just not getting better. So a lot of these people that I've been watching, they've left the United States. They moved to places like Brazil and Venezuela and Portugal and even Europe sometimes, if they're affordable places in Europe. And they were a lot happier, you know? So it's something I've been thinking about. I don't think I'd move out of the country quite yet. I still have some family that I'm thinking about, but, you know, I wouldn't rule out maybe moving to one of those places. So long as there are lots of shows that happen. Because wherever I move to, I want it to be close to where concerts happen. And preferably goth nights. Because the Wicked Witch is my third home now. So, you know. Andrew Gabriel, do what Ian Mackay says. Vote for the one least likely to go to war. Vote for the one who's not, like, going around making up shit. Martin, hey, what's up? You know, it's been a long time since I've seen you. I need to see you soon. Seriously. I am going to the Wicked Witch on the 26th, so, you know, if you're going to be around, come on. I'll kick you in the balls. Anyway, yeah, so we are about 47 minutes into it. I want to talk about my latest song, Mushroom Song. Thanks to all 5 of you who saw the video and all 2 of you who bought the song off of Bandcamp. It is probably the hugest sounding song that I've done so far. The song practically wrote itself. It's a song about healing through psychedelics, and if you watch the music video, you can see all sorts of little nods towards the psychedelic ritual. You know, in other words, if you know, you know. Case in point, the orange juice, the lemons, the meditating, the writing in the notebook. What could I be writing? Could it be setting an intention? And I'm just going to clue you all in. For those who don't know, lemon teching, that is when you grind up mushrooms and you soak them in lemon juice for about 20 to 30 minutes. And what that does is it breaks the mushrooms down, specifically chitin, which is in the mushrooms. And it causes nausea for a lot of people. And the lemons reduce nausea, but also it breaks down the mushrooms so that way the high hits harder and comes sooner. It is a more intense high that doesn't last for quite as long. That's what a lot of people prefer. And also, if you drink orange juice just after you ingest the mushrooms, by hearsay, it intensifies the trip. I don't think there's any scientific way so far to prove that it happens, but it's hearsay. The majority of the video was actually me reenacting the day that I took acid for the first time. It was one of the best days of my life. And I'll tell you the real reason I wrote that song was because my depression, ever since that day, it's been gone. 100%. Yeah, that was a little rabbit hole that I was getting on since last Christmas. The Amazing Atheist, he was doing a live stream talking about war veterans microdosing psychedelics to be treated for PTSD. This was something I'd never heard of before. And so I looked into it, and I spent months just looking up YouTube videos, looking at documentaries, reading articles, talking to different people, and You know, just like marijuana for a lot of people, you know, it helps with health problems, mental problems sometimes, helps people with anxiety. I don't do anything with pot personally. But mushrooms, it's like, this is stuff that I didn't know about. You know, I went through the same propaganda when I was a kid, you know, with those fucking DARE classes talking about, oh yeah, you know, LSD, it'll fry your brain, it'll fuck you up, it'll make your brain mush. But, you know, looking into it, you know, it does have a lot of medicinal benefits if used responsibly. You know, psychedelics are not something you do every weekend or just to party. No, they are not a party thing. Using them responsibly means, you know, just doing them when you need them. Every couple months, couple times out of the year, maybe every couple of years. And a lot of people, you know, they trip, they take a couple macro doses throughout the year, and then they never need them again. Or it's a long time before they do need them. Or you can microdose, which is basically ingesting just enough in a pill form or drinking in your coffee or your tea every morning. 3 days on, 2 days off. And you take just enough to feel the medicinal benefits without tripping. And that's what a lot of people do. So this was a subject that I felt kind of passionate about. So I wrote Mushroom Song. The song practically wrote itself. I wanted something psychedelic. I wanted something huge. I mean, I've been wanting to write a stoner metal song for years. And the thing about stoner metal, most of it's written about weed. But you don't really see a lot of metal songs about mushrooms. So it was like, okay, so if mushrooms were a song, what would it be? Let's make a psychedelic metal song. So you got the phaser guitar. Yeah. Baritone guitar with the auditory Dr. Phase plugin. Ugh! Sounds so fucking good. And even the bass. I didn't use a pick with the bass this time. I fingered the bass. Dum, dum, dum. And the bass was more connected to the kick drum for most of the song. A lot of people noticed the Monster Magnet influence, specifically in the vocals and the guitars. One of the most psychedelic albums I can think of is Spine of God by Monster Magnet. The verse riff for this song, for my song, that was basically a variation of Nod Scene by Monster Magnet. And, you know, my vocals, I was intentionally going for a more Dave Windorf sound. Show me the tools to change. Wow! You know, that growl that he does. Oh. So good. But, you know, a lot of people miss this. There was also the Sleep and High on Fire influences, as well as Electric Wizard. You know, High on Fire, 10,000 Years. The last minute or two, the last few minutes of that song, dun, 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 dun. It just sounds all thunderous and slow, that breakdown. Well, that's what I was trying to do with the extended edition of Mushroom Song. And so that was the song itself. Of course, I had Dan Miller of Autumn's Eyes. He was my mixing consultant because he has the good sound system and he can point me in the right direction. He can say, look, man, your bass is spiking all over the place. Put a fucking compressor on that shit. And it was also cool because the bass was doing different stuff than the guitar a lot of the time. So the guitar riff would be, and the bass would go, it's just so huge sounding. And of course, I recorded real drums, basically using the drums as a room mic, also close miking the toms. And that would give the drums the energy. So I recorded real drums and then just added samples on top of everything, and it sounds magnificent! The music video, of course, it was an exercise in psychedelic effects and visuals. Some of that stuff, like the backgrounds I got from Pixabay, you know, like the little lava lamp looking stuff that I'm singing in front of. So the original idea actually was going to be, I was going to sing in front of a blue screen, and the music video was going to happen behind me. And after a couple minutes of looking at this, I was like, this looks fucking stupid. So I took me out of most of it and just let the music video be the music video. And the beginning and the last verse, those are the only times you see me singing. When the ship has sailed. You know, that type stuff. Ugh. And my favorite shot in the whole video, let's see, there are two of them. So that downward shot where I'm screaming up at the camera. First of all, like I said, that was a recreation of my day on acid. That happened. I just dropped to my knees and just started screaming at the sky for a good minute. It was primal. It was intense. And let's see, that shot was done by taking an old swing, a yard swing, and propping it up on cinder blocks and clamping the iPhone to where it will go down to 90 degrees. And I just got on my knees. Ah! It's perfect. So perfect. And the other favorite shot, there's that shot before it starts raining in the music video. So there's that shot of the mushroom on the ground. It looks kind of dark. And you'll notice the grass is kind of saturated, real vivid, inky green. And that's what it looks like on acid. If you are fortunate enough to be able to watch the music video on a TV or on a big screen, you'll notice that I saturated the hell out of all the colors in most of the video. And that's because I want it to look like what it looks like. And that's that shot right there. That's it. So yeah, Mushroom Song is available on all streaming platforms, every streaming platform you can think of, Bandcamp, and of course, there's the music video. So please, if you haven't seen the music video, add it to your watch later. Go give it a watch. It's fucking great. Okay, let me get back to these comments. Martin's going to a wedding. Well, hopefully it lasts. Give my regards. Glenn Darcy, Mushroom Song is great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Sorkoth 14, I think I'm saying that right. Are you talking about amanitas or psilocybin? Psilocybin. Amanitas, you gotta be a little careful because if they're processed incorrectly, they can cause more harm than good. But the nice thing about psilocybin, all I'm going to say here is that the spores are legal in every state in America except for 3 of them, where they're sort of loopholes. I mean, they're federally legal, but a couple states, they want to go about it. So you have to obtain them in different ways. They have to be approved by boards and stuff. But as long as you say that you're buying the spores for research purposes, you're good to go. Just be responsible. Vile harpsichord, important. Most hallucinogenic mushrooms will kill you if you eat too many. They probably won't kill you, but they'll take you places you wouldn't want to go. Harley Dalton, I'm scared to take any kind of drugs or substances because I'm inherently self-destructive. Well, the nice thing about mushrooms, they're not addictive. Now, maybe if you have like an addictive personality, maybe that would be an issue, but they're less addictive than marijuana. They're also safer than marijuana because, like I said, if you grow them naturally, they're not going to have any type of processing or strange ingredients there. And, if you grow the spores on your own, you're watching it, you're seeing exactly how it grows. It's natural. And the nice thing about growing mushrooms is they basically grow themselves. They're not like weed where it's a real involved process all the way through. But, I've never taken hard drugs in my life, never will. But the medicinal benefits of mushrooms, this could help a lot of people. It was really inspiring for me to go down that rabbit hole and read all these stories and talk to all these people who've been on SSRIs and they've been in therapy for years. They've had all sorts of traumas. They've seen some shit. They've gone to war. They've been sexually assaulted, raped, beaten as children, or they've had addiction issues, like they're alcoholics or they've been on hard drugs. Psychedelics have helped people get off of hard drugs. Because the way psychedelics work, it's like they encourage plasticity in your brain. And that means that you can form new habits. You can break old habits, form new habits. And a lot of people have described psychedelics as going through years of therapy in a few hours. That's accurate. There's a new term for it, which is called California sober. People who don't drink, don't take hard drugs, but they will do weed and mushrooms because, well, they grow from the earth. Yeah. You know, just do your own research and be responsible. Dexthymia, I think I'm saying that right. I can say I did a lot of drugs as a teen. I can say I have HPPD symptoms from doing acid and shrooms every week or two. Strongly agree about the responsible use. Oh, absolutely, because you can and will. Like, if you want to take it to get fucked up, you can get fucked up. But again, being responsible, you know, you don't do this every weekend. And just a couple small handful, like less than a handful of times out of the year, or if you microdose. Now, if you take MDMA, if you take too much of that, it will rot your brain. There's science to prove it, but that's just. Ice Bear, can you do a full video about your experience? Maybe. I mean, I could do that, but I feel like when I do these lifestyle videos, sometimes the backlash from them is a little weird. Like, people got up in arms about the vasectomy video, and it was like, okay, so I have a bunch of strangers who don't know me, never met me in my life, but they want to tell me how to live my life. What the fuck? But, you know, Andrew Gabriel, gotta go. It was always nice to shoot the shit during your live streams. Well, thank you so much for joining. Before it's gone, I think it's surprising how little songs there are about meth considering the amount of songs about heroin. I'd imagine meth would be easier to write on. Well, what would probably happen is you would start writing a song on meth and then you get frustrated and throw all your shit across the room. You know, I had another ballsy video idea, actually. Albums that proved that drugs have done good things for us. Now, that would get demonetized by YouTube immediately, but, I mean, think about this. Black Sabbath Volume 4, the Cocaine album. Ministry, Filth Pig, the Heroin album. Spine of God by Monster Magnet, the Pot and Psychedelics album. Anything released by The Doors, Psychedelics. These albums do exist, and frankly, fuck it. You know, they're all banger albums, trust me. Highly recommend Shroom, S-H-R-U-M. They're a psychedelic death metal band that shares members with Acid Bath. Well, I do love me some Acid Bath, so hey. All right, Daisy, how you doing? All right, Savannah. I'm pretty sure I would go cannibalistic if I tried acid again. It's been so long. Well, just, you know, a lighter strain of mushrooms like golden teachers or stargazers. Those will not energize you, I don't think. Penis envy will energize you. Evan Wright gave me typo vibes, but if a tenor was their lead singer. What are you talking about? Mushroom Song? Interesting. Make Credible. Have you ever been to a music museum? I have been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice. The second time I went was when they had 9 Inch Nails Fan Day. That was back in September of 2022, and it was incredible. I met some cool people. One of them ghosted me. Fuck that bitch. But yeah, I got to see the statue that was in the Closer music video. You know, the one that twirls? After the first chorus. Ugh. And they even had one of the keyboards from Woodstock 94 still soaked in mud. Evan Wright, acid got me clean from opiates. Hey, I'm so glad you were able to get yourself out of that. It's perfect. Chris saying, I'll go fix my TV. We'll talk later. Fix your TV, man. Seriously. Gremlin, your channel is what got me into metal in the first place. I'm still new to the genre, but thank you so much. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Plenty of great bands, and if you look back through my catalog, hundreds of videos, you will find all sorts of interesting stuff. It's a recreational channel. Death Grind and more. Music videos in HD, 60 frames per second. Wow, sounds fancy. Hey, Tony, what's up? Pretty happy you're streaming tonight. I asked a girl out and she said no. And it won't be the last time it happens. But you know what? The key here is just be the company you want to keep. You know? You'll eventually meet people who will love to share company with you and hang out with you and bond with you, and it'll happen someday. Just in the meantime, work on yourself, find hobbies, make yourself happy. And remember that happiness in life doesn't come from friendships and relationships. Now, those two can be sources of happiness, but it comes from within. It comes from the beauty around us. Good luck to you, man. Hey, man, still soaked. How's that possible? What are you talking about? Mr. Dartmoor, your channel and Wyatt's Metal are great. Wyatt's channel is a great channel. I watched a few of his videos, and he's really good. He's also been blowing up a lot. His topics have been really great. His presentations have been great. I'd like to work with him someday. Never spoken to him personally, but would be cool to make that happen. Metal Dolphin. Speaking of Nine Inch Nails, it's the 30th anniversary of the Woodstock 94 concert this year. Yep. And I was thinking earlier, this year is the 20th anniversary of Seed of Chucky. That is so fucking weird to me because I was a kid when that came out, and I saw it when it came out, and it's like, that was 20 years ago? I had it on VHS. And really, it's a shitty movie, but it was ahead of its time because it was talking about gender dysphoria and gender fluidity long before Hollywood movies and TV shows were doing that. It's like, okay, so of all movies, fucking Seed of Chucky has aged the most interestingly. Opinions on Last Days of Humanity. Haven't heard you talk about them after that Gore Grind video. Well, I mean, what I said rang true. They're fucking intense and they're fucking great. Love them to death. Honestly, thought it was hell entertaining. I mean, it was. It was stupid as hell. And it was cheesy as hell. But, like, look, if I'm watching a horror movie, I don't want to watch my horror villains turn into comedians, you know? Like Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy's dead. It's like a fucking Bugs Bunny cartoon. So, what else could I talk about? Let's see. Oh, so I found this. The library in my town, they were having a little book sale. And they had this book of dirty limericks. And I got it. It cost about $2. It was the only thing I wanted, so they just let me have it. And I've just been laughing my ass off reading these. Let's see. Let's see if I can find one. Hold up. I invited an old whore to tea, and as we were discussing her fee, she gave me a shock when she pulled out her cock and announced she would fuck me for free. There once was a lad we called Jack, who met a girl he wanted to sack. He made her a deal, then asked for a feel, so she let him play tunes on her rack. There once was a man named Danny, who asked a girl to see her fine fanny. When she replied no, do you think I'm a hoe? He said, okay, how about your punani? I love limericks. During COVID, I was in lockdown, and I was going so depressed and stir crazy that I started coming up with my own little limericks. And if you saw my Instagram page around that time, you know, I wrote a whole poem about, you know, having a small wiener. What is it about my weenie that makes everybody such a meanie? Just very immature, and my ex was just like, Tony. Yeah, so it's so how many of you saw that new Joker movie? I went to see it a few nights ago, and you know, I thought it got a lot right. You know, I understand why a lot of people are pissed off at the movie. They feel insulted by it. I feel insulted by it, but for a different reason. I want to go through the goods first. You know, the cinematography is excellent. The use of color is excellent. Lady Gaga, of course, queen. You know, it was a well-cast movie, and it was a well-shot movie. Now, of course, a lot of people felt like it betrayed everything about the first movie. You know, the character development. He wasn't really the same guy as he was at the end of the first movie. And, of course, he was getting gang raped by the institution guards, which even Batman didn't go that far. My goodness. I mean, this was a darker and more depressing movie than the first one, if that was possible. It was dark. And I left that theater seeing the ending, and I was just like, yeah. Yeah, even Batman didn't rape the Joker, ever. I mean, could you imagine? You know, that would probably be more effective than throwing him in prison. You know, kind of like that Louis C.K. joke about raping Hitler. You know, instead of going back in time to assassinate Hitler, go back in time to rape Hitler. I'm not going to spoil the joke for you. Just go look it up. But I'll tell you what they could have done to make the movie better, okay? So there's a sex scene in the movie, about 30 minutes in. Lady Gaga, her character, Harley Quinn, she's getting ready to go home. And before she goes home, she goes to visit Arthur in his cell. And they have sex for about 30 seconds. But he's of course, a two-pump chump, and he comes in like 30 seconds. And you didn't even see anything of Gaga. You didn't see her booty. You didn't see her boobies. You didn't see anything of her. Well, unfortunately, you know what I would have done to make it better? First of all, I would have cut the first 30 minutes. You know, would have started the movie with that scene in the cell of them having sex. Okay, so that would have been how the movie would have started. There would have been full frontal and full rear nudity from both cast members. And it would go on for a while. About 2 hours. And you'd see everything. You'd see close-ups, you'd see different angles, see different positions, and then the credits would roll. And there you go. There's your movie. Much better movie. Be like the Bill Hicks version of Basic Instinct. And right, I remember watching Animaniacs as an adult stoned. It amazes me that Smack My Fanny made it through the censors for yeah, they got away with a lot of racy stuff, and so did Batman the Animated Series. While I'm at it, you know, those Looney Tunes cartoons, they got away with some pretty fucked up stuff. You know, Anger, Boda, Lauren, hey, how you doing? Ever seen a 1990 R-rated superhero movie, Dartman? Oh, man. Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi is just so cool. Anyway, so I've been listening to a lot of cool stuff lately on account of it being spooky month. Been on a big Black Sabbath kick myself, and they found the tapes for Born Again, so I'm eagerly awaiting for that remix. Zero the Hero is badass. Of course, there are the Dio albums, Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules, and I was listening to them back to back last week, and I was thinking to myself, you know, I think I like Mob Rules better than Heaven and Hell. Like, Heaven and Hell, I think, has the best artwork of the Dio albums, but for me, Heaven and Hell, I like the first half a lot more than I like the second half. It's like the first 4 songs are just perfect. The perfect 1, 2, 3 punch. You had Neon Nights, Children of the Sea, Lady Evil, Heaven and Hell. Incredible songs. And then the second half, it's like, it's just kind of depressing for me. The songs aren't as memorable, in my opinion. Mob Rules is more consistent, beginning to end. It's also darker. You know, that's when they go full Sabbath mode. You know, Sign of the Southern Cross, falling off the edge of the world. Ugh. So great. And of course, there's Dehumanizer, which is just an underrated album, period. After All the Dead, it's fucking badass as hell. And it's a heavy album, you know, Time Machine. Time Machine is a good album to listen to get pumped. And I've been listening to the Tony Martin albums, of course, Tear, Headless Cross, Cross Purposes. Great albums, and I'm so glad that they're back in print. Let's see, among other Halloween music, of course, some Kiss. Gotta listen to Kiss every Halloween. And I have a strange association with Thrills in the Night. off of Animalize. For some reason, like when I was a kid, going to the haunted cornfields and doing these costume contests and going trick-or-treating, getting candy, I was listening to Kiss a lot when I was 12, 13, doing the Halloween stuff, and Thrills in the Night was one of the songs I was listening to, doing all that. So to this day, I listen to that song and I think of going trick-or-treating and doing the Halloween costumes when I was a kid. So yeah. Fun stuff. And been listening to some Godflesh, of course, because why not? Godflesh is awesome. And I got to thinking the other day, you know, Godflesh, they're one of the rare occasions where their EPs are actually better than their albums. I mean, think about this. Their first album, well, EP, mini album, whatever the fuck people want to call it. It's the self-titled Godflesh album. This one. Nobody can quite agree on what exactly it is, but everybody can agree that it is a fucking monster from front to back. So many great songs. Avalanche, Master Song, Banes, Ice and Earth Shatter. Ugh! And then, of course, you know, you have Slave State. Ooh! Slave State, and I believe that some versions have Cold World on the disc, which is pretty gnarly. And then there was Pure, and there was Selfless, which Selfless, believe it or not, is my least favorite Godflesh album, because while it is heavy, all the songs sound the same. But you have Merciless, which came out that same year. Merciless is an appropriate title for this. Seriously. You know, I'm actually thinking about doing a video on this. You know, just the Godflesh EPs and how awesome they are. And of course, Messiah, after they had broken up. Relapse released this. This fucking rules. Like, if I remember correctly, this was recorded about 94, I'd say. And didn't get released until about 2003, and it is a fucking bonkers release. And of course, the new Godflesh stuff. The new Godflesh stuff is really good. Purge, Post Self, Decline and Fall. Ugh. Ice Bear, best Halloween costume you've done. I dressed up as the Angry Video Game Nerd one year. I also dressed up as Elvis, and I won a Halloween costume contest at Walmart for it. Evan Wright, who cares? I'll buy anything Broadwick has been involved with, even the ambient stuff. You know, Jessu I liked better when I was younger. These days, maybe not so much. Jessu's a little more poppier, I suppose. I mean, he's still good. It's still good. It's just not really what I want to listen to. Max 23, you can't touch those first three Godflesh records. Yeah, man. Self-titled, Street Cleaner. And it's weird because on Street Cleaner, if you buy it on CD, the Tiny Tears EP has been attached to the end of it. You know, those songs after Locust Furnace. But it occurred to me that I'd never seen Tiny Tears, the EP, before on its own. So I looked it up on Discogs and on Wikipedia, and it doesn't exist. Tiny Tears never got a release outside of the Street Cleaner CD. So they could have just called it CD bonus tracks, but no, they just they wanted to be fancier than they were, I guess, and that's okay. I mean, the songs are pretty cool, but you know, it's been a mystery to me for the last 12 years. Anyway, Pure is awesome. Slave State's awesome. Songs of Love and Hate is great. That's when they had a real drummer. They also had a real drummer for Hymns, which I like less and less the older I get. All right. This is for you. Have you heard Impetigo? Yep. AVGN rules, yes. I meant Final and JK Flesh. Hemis Final put out his third official release on Neurosis label. Man, I would love to go see him live. I hear the shows are real intense when they go right. Sometimes they have issues with the tracking and the syncing and the clocking with the drum machines, but hey. Like Pulp. Okay, so what else can I talk about? So I guess I got through my little list of things to talk about. I guess the floor is for everybody here. Naturally, if you want a Killbot shirt, we have the classic face design. You can get them on Amazon, on Bandcamp, or you can buy them directly from me. I also have patches and stickers. And of course, you can buy these on Bandcamp, where you can also listen to and buy my latest song, Mushroom Song. And I guess among the next videos I'm going to do, I guess I could do the Godflesh video, but I could also do a video on what influences what I listen to every day. There are a lot of factors that go into it. I got to thinking about it. It's like, okay, so there are albums I prefer to listen to at night. There are albums I prefer to listen to in the daytime. There are albums I prefer to listen to while driving. There are other albums where I want to focus my full attention. Albums I want to listen to while doing stuff. Depends on the time of year, depends on the location. Say if I'm in New York, I want to listen to the Ramones more. Recent conversations I may have had where somebody may have said something and it would have reminded me of a song. And yeah, just shit like that. Because that's the thing about owning a lot of music and listening to a lot of bands is there's so much, and you have to be real selective. There's only so many hours in the day, and that fucking dog won't stop barking. But yeah. Daisy, have you ever watched any documentaries on musicians and bands? Oh, plenty. The Mentors documentary, Kings of Sleaze, is pretty good. My friend April did that one. It's funny. Let's see, probably the best music documentary I ever saw. Let's see, Cannibal Corpse's documentary. It's about 3 hours. Excellently done. Let's see, the Nightwish documentaries. They come off as dicks in the way that they handled the firings of their singers, because they were. But they're good documentaries, I'd say. Let's see, the L7 documentary, Pretend We're Dead. Ugh! So good. So good. See, apparently the Melvins documentary, Colossus of Sound, supposedly that was pretty good. The Swans documentary was okay. A lot of self-aggrandizing. A lot of people talking about how great Michael is, but not so much commentary on the music itself. Thoughts on Steve Albini, Geordie Walker, and Rolly Moseman's recent passings? Fuck, they were all young, man. Hey, these legends, they're going. I mean, they're not getting any younger, so appreciate them while they're here. Neil Peart, I never got to see Rush while they were around, so I never will. I mean, I know that there's been some rumblings. Should Geddy and Alex continue Rush? No! It was the three of them. Like, call it a new project or something. Like, maybe they'll play Rush songs once in a while, but like, it's not Rush. It's just like this shit about Pantera going on without the Abbott brothers. People can make excuses for it all they want. It's not Pantera. May Credible, did you have any bands that required an acquired taste? Godflesh, since I just talked about them. When I first heard Street Cleaner, I was like, this is fucking boring. But the more I listened to it, the more of a slow burn it was, the better it got with each listen. I'll say this, The Downward Spiral by 9 Inch Nails, I think I was 11 or 12 years old when I first heard that album. It scared the shit out of me. I was terrified of it. And today I can say that if it's not my favorite album of all time, then it's in my top 3 or 4. See what other bands. Probably Queens of the Stone Age. It was a little hard to listen to at first, but let's see, Pink Floyd, it was kind of hard for me to listen to as a kid, but the older I got, the more I liked it. Just for I went to a hardcore gig in Gothenburg at the place called The Prison. There's a football field right behind it. There was some training, their faces, seeing all these goths were great. That's awesome, man. There's a goth night I'm going to on the 26th. The Wicked Witch is having a Halloween goth night. Got my ticket early, and The Wicked Witch is basically my third home. I watched a video recently on the concept of third homes, how third homes are basically disappearing because of COVID, because of technology, because of isolation. People are more isolated and divided than ever now. And, you know, there aren't really a lot of third homes where people can just go hang out, especially in small towns. Like, there are bars, because we live in toxic drinking culture, as I like to refer to it. You know, there are bars everywhere you look, but if you're like me and you don't give a shit about alcohol, what else is there to do? Well, you go to goth night and you fucking dance the night away, and you meet all these wonderful, amazing people, and you listen to great music, and you embrace the darkness embraces you. And I hate nightclubbing. I really do. But goth night is different. It's different than going to the club. You go boom, 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 boom. Nah, fuck that shit. No. Goth night, you hear the most beautiful shit. You hear Susie. You hear Boy Harsher. You hear VNV Nation. You hear Rosetta Stone. You hear London After Midnight. You know, you enter a goth night and it sometimes feels like you enter a different world. And you feel right at home within 60 seconds. And everybody's there. They're intellectual. They're cultured. They're dressed sharp. They're friendly. It's kind of like going to a metal show in a way. You know, there's a lot of crossover between goth music and metal music in that, you know, it's both genres have been shut on by mainstream society. And, you know, you have a lot of these mainstream celebrities trying to co-opt it as some fashion statement, but it's not a fashion statement. This isn't a Halloween costume for any of us. You know, people dressing up as Eddie Munson without listening to the stuff he listens to. It's like, okay. As Nails once said, you'll never be one of us. Throbbing Gristle, Suicide, Frank Zappa, Sun City Girls, Faust, early stuff by the Axe come to mind for largest. Yeah, I'd say so. Mr. Darkmare, I love and respect goth culture. Well, that's good. I wrote a Darkwave song earlier this year. It's called Downstream. And now that Mushroom Song is finished and released, and about 2 people listen to it, I'm going to release more music that 2 people are going to listen to. And the music I want to release, I want to do some industrial, I want to do some goth. I have my Hydrosynth Explorer, which is an incredible instrument. And I have my Behringer Pro 1 on eBay currently. I'm trying to sell that one because I feel like the majority of those sounds I can get on the Hydrosynth. The Hydrosynth can do anything. I was watching a video recently about some guy who sold all of his analog gear, like thousands and thousands of dollars worth of analog gear, and he prefers digital these days because digital has gotten really good. Digital is versatile, and also most of the time in a mix, most people can't tell the difference between analog and digital synths. You know, it's kind of like guitars. You know, a lot of people like to whine about tube brands and pickup types, and most of the time in a mix, the average listener won't be able to tell the difference. So a lot of people, they nitpick and they fight, they bicker, and they focus on stuff that ultimately doesn't matter. You know, what matters is how good is the song? How well is it produced? How well is it written? You know, the Pro 1, it's a great synthesizer, but again, I feel like I can get the majority, if not all of those sounds on the Hydrosynth. The Hydrosynth can do anything. There are 2 oscillators on the Pro 1. There are 3 oscillators on the Hydra, and there are 5 LFOs, 5 envelopes. There are all sorts of onboard effects. Like, I prefer a more streamlined approach to making music. So, like, when I record my songs, sometimes I will program the drums before I start laying down some riffs, and that helps. You know, it gives me something to work with. It gives me a guide. And the riffs sometimes can evolve into their own thing just based on whatever drum loop I have programmed into GarageBand. And that's nice. You know, no more having to set up microphones and position them right. It's like, I don't want to have to fidget a lot when I'm recording music, because that sucks the enjoyment out of it for me. So if I have more enjoyment out of playing it, then I will play more. I mean, that's only natural. Necrocenobite, have you heard the new Nails album? No, but I need to, because that was their first album in a long time, and I do like their stuff, so hey. Okay, so it is now almost 7 o'clock, and I want to go cook a pizza. So, any last words, any final things anybody wants to say? Now's the time to do so, because I'm hungry. I could probably go preheat the oven while I'm doing this, but that's, anybody at all. I'd like to thank you all for joining these live streams, because, you know, it is fun for me to do them. I should probably do them more often. And if you haven't seen my latest music video, Mushroom Song, please go do so. All these years later, I've been on YouTube for close to 10 years. It's coming up, 10-year anniversary of Killbot. 10 years, and I'm still doing all sorts of creative, fun stuff. And the videos are still great, in my opinion. Evan writes, semi-modular sense equals decaf coffee. Well, decaf coffee is like a hooker that only wants to cuddle. Like, semi-modulars can be cool, it's just... I don't know. Well, even modulars, you know, a lot of people get focused on the wrong stuff. Like, they want these modules, these individual capacitors, individual LFOs, individual filters, and sometimes you can end up getting the same result by just programming the right thing on the Hydrasynth or the Microkorg. Korg just released the Microkorg 2, which is an updated version of the 20-year-old synth. Greatest synth of all time, so... No, sorry, no. Biggest selling synth of all time, I should have said, so... What do you think about Tech Thrash? Yeah, that's pretty cool. Revocation, I'd say, is Tech Thrash. I saw them twice. Max23, enjoyed your content since finding your skinny puppy videos. Well, thank you so much. Hopefully you saw the recent video I did, hanging out with Ogre at Mad Monster. Yep, that was a good video. He's a gentleman. He's a great guy. Mr. Ogilvy, I love him to death. A good human being. Anyway, so it is now 7 o'clock. So thank you all for joining in, and grind on. Till next time.